Hello, beautiful people, and hello, Courtney, Dylan, and Eric, my son in the afterlife. Courtney, everybody send her healing energy. By the time you watch this, she'll be
Thank you.
her back is she's in such pain, but I'm going to send it to you. So anyway,
Well, thank you.
we have a very interesting topic. I would just give you a little back story. For some reason, I've always been fascinated by the name Atlantis. I'm surprised I didn't name all of our pets Atlantis, but my first company was Atlantis Software, and then we had a boat. We called it Atlantis, and then Atlantis Scalar. And I never knew really why. I didn't really know anything about Atlantis. I heard it was a lost thing, you know.
Mhm.
But then I found out that from most recently from Michelle, but from others that I was with in Atlantis in another life with Erik and other family members. And so that explains it a lot. So I found out that, well, we'll go through what each family member was. And also, I've been reading a lot about Atlantis. And I have this book that I'm reading called Atlantis Rising, which are basically channeled Atlantean, well, maybe one channeled Atlantean that says, dudes, y'all are going in the same path we're going in.
That's what he's telling me. Yeah.
Tell the record keeper who is here that Erik brought in. What's his name?
So Erik, his name's Tom, and I wrote it down because I was like, I don't know how to say this. And he's here with Erik. They're standing together, and he is a record keeper of Atlantis. So he kept records during the time of Atlantis and is a lot of authority to speak on it as well.
Awesome.
And so he's here to help answer questions.
Thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate that. Now, I was told that by Michelle that my youngest daughter, Annika, was a record keeper. And tell me more.
That is correct. That is
kind of
correct.
responsibility. It's like Akashic records or
so they do actually, he shows
memory
me
keeper, they call it too. Yeah.
memory keeper or record keeper. He says it's a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. He's telling me that because they are and were aware of the Akashic records, I do not speak of time in the same way that you speak of time, because I do not understand. I understand the nature of time differently. He shows me that he works directly in the Akashic records and with the records. That the records of Atlantis are, as everything is, kept in the Akashic records, but he was working with the records, the Akashic records, during the time of Atlantis while he was recording. He does know your daughter and worked closely with her during this lifetime.
Wow.
It is a very important job.
Yeah.
And one that requires great precision and accuracy. It is important to, so they understood also, he's showing me that what is happening now in the world would happen actually. And that part of keeping the record was to almost like understand the role, what's happening right now.
Right.
It is in what I will speak of today is the importance of choice that you find yourselves in. You are facing many of the same challenges. Many people who have incarnated on Earth at this time have origins or lifetimes in Atlantis.
Is that true? Is that true of America? I heard that America has a
yes, okay. This is true. He's talking about you, Elisa. You are one of them.
Okay.
We are at an important choice point in the collective. It is important that light workers choose to work with their Atlantean selves. They can call forth the energy from this lifetime and the memory from this lifetime. these memories will assist light workers currently incarnated on the planet, in particular the United States, in aiding the efforts. Okay, so that's so he's wanting to people. So I don't know if you've done this, but he's recommending that people who are light workers do this. So I probably will do this too. But he wants us to call back our gifts, our abilities, and necessary memories of that lifetime in order to assist our work that we're doing. There's like an integration that can happen for people.
Mm-hmm. So are most of the channeling Erik mediums, have they roots in Atlantis? Or maybe 100% of them, I don't know.
All of the mediums on your channel have had experience in Atlantis. So he's not saying necessarily roots, but, you know, have lived in that through. Yeah.
All right. What about my family members? Are there any, my husband, Lucas apparently was involved in nutrition and growing things and cooking things in Atlantis. And it's so true because he does all that right now. But my husband, let's start with him. What does he do? Dictator. I'm kidding.
No, he had it feels like a similar role to his personality now, that he was a leader, that he was, I just keep hearing leader, that he's leading people, that he was, it looked like he was in what was sort of like the government, but it was like a council, and he was a council member.
Okay, we'll just be real brief on all of these. So I'm a healer. Erik was a healer. My daughter, Michelle, who feels like she's part of the Galactic Federation and Sirius.
Healer, and she's assisting you, but you two are actually working together in your work in Atlantis, it looks like to me.
Mm-hmm. My eldest daughter, Christina, who's an anesthesiologist turned candle maker.
You have a family of healers.
So a healer too.
Yes, but she worked, I keep hearing herbs. So she did something with herbs and the properties and medicines of herbs. So I don't know if she's interested in herbs in this lifetime.
Well, it makes sense that she's putting together candles, some of which can be healing. So it makes sense that she would like combine different things, the ingredients, etc. What about our housekeeper, who's a family member, Maria? I feel like
is she very psychic?
Yes, she sees.
I'm like, oh my gosh, she sees everything. Yeah, she's very psychic.
She saw my deceased sister Denise like slouched over a chair, like, and you know, yeah, she does. She is very. But were we together in an Atlantean life?
She was in Atlantis. She feels like she's a helper, or no, sorry. Like you guys are like sisters or something. You're like in each other's family. Feels like you have a very close connection. Yes. I mean, you guys are so close. It feels like there's a soul bond here, that she's very grounding to you, and also like a family member almost.
Yes. I mean, she's the first one that saw Erik. And it was horrible, and she actually stayed on. I mean, I can't believe it. I would have gone for the hills. But so was she a healer in Atlantis?
Yes, she was a healer, but you have this sister energy with her. Okay. So it feels like you're related, which is very sweet. And you have many other lifetimes with her as well. Like she keeps showing up in your family.
Yeah.
In some way.
What about Grant, my eldest daughter's father-in-law, who just passed away? Apparently he said from the other side that he came down with cancer, so I would find Atlantis scalar, because I said I want to find a way to cure this beautiful man.
This is true. This is very true.
Yeah.
You had what is interesting, and Erik's saying is you had, and we'll go into what his role was in 1 second. You were working in the scalar field in Atlantis. It's almost like you had this knowledge returned to you now. And it was like it, because it just, you sort of knew it, if that makes sense. You just were like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. I mean, you learned a lot of things. I'm not saying that,
yeah.
but you trained and learned a lot of, about the technique and all of that. But it feels like you also did have a body of knowledge that you just tapped into or pulled from.
Okay.
And that's what they're saying, that we can actually do that from this lifetime. That most of us who are here on the planet as light workers had roots there that we can pull from.
Okay.
That's important. It looks like, what is his role? He's just smiling at me. That's all. He's not telling. Yeah.
Here, guys, there he is. Wonderful.
He's good. He looks exactly the same.
Oh, he's so good. One of my favorites.
He feels a lot better. He's taking it easy. Taking it. Good. It feels like he in this lifetime, and I'm sorry, I don't know his background. Was he a leader with a lot of people?
Yeah. Yeah, well, he was an orthopedic surgeon that operated on my foot, his ankle and foot, before we even knew his relationship to who would eventually become my son-in-law. So, he's been in our family from before he was in our family. So,
his role, he says, was minor but important. He says minor but important. He looked like a messenger, that he would deliver important message to various people within the, like people within government, society, people within government, healers. And this is interesting because, and maybe it says this in your book, but what they're showing me is like healers worked with people in the council. Healers worked with, and it wasn't just like we had this, healers, and then there's the government that's completely separate. Hang up the
shingle and
right, exactly. So it's very much like there's collaborative efforts. This is before the fall and things got very corrupted, but there's very much like collaborative efforts that there were healing programs and people could really access lots of different technologies, herbs, technologies through the food. They knew how to activate herbs in a different way. Which is actually
crystals, which I do now.
Yeah. You would work with the crystals within the scalar field, and also the record keepers would hold. So you have I believe two record keepers in your family. Is that right? Yes. And the record keepers would hold the information for the records within the crystals.
Like encoding them.
Encoding them, exactly. And so some of the crystals that we can find now, if we learn how to work with them, they have all these records in them of Atlantis. But what's interesting is you have to be able to have a certain vibration to become resonant with this information. Like they were aware that this information, this is fascinating, could fall into the wrong hands. And so within the crystals, like some people will just get a crystal and say, oh, what a shiny, beautiful rock. And that will be that, because they won't have the ability or understanding that you can learn how to tune into the records that are held within these crystals, that they are living beings who have names. They have names. You can ask them their names. And I don't know if you do that, Elisa.
No.
But,
I mean, remember old kids and grandkids' name half the time.
So I have Peter, and he protects me.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Peter, you're
good. Yeah. So anyway, sometimes they have names for me too, but you can ask them their names, and then you can begin to learn how to sync with the energy of the crystal, and you can learn how to read the record of the crystal. Is what he's teaching me. But this is how they held the records of Atlantis in the crystals.
But how can I, with my array of Herkimer diamonds and gems and stones and how can I encode them? Can I say, I'm encoding you with the power of Atlantis and putting the scalar script into the crystal?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's that simple. It's not as difficult or complex as people make it out to be, it appears. What is interesting is you can learn through the power of your voice, you can actually encode the crystals with specific tasks. So you can encode them if you're working with a particular person, you can encode them for healing for that particular person.
I've got hundreds of crystals in the array and still.
I mean, you have so many options. It's amazing. Maybe, yeah, I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. So you can, be like, when you're in the field and working with somebody, you can amplify the properties by encoding a crystal.
Okay.
I don't know. I keep seeing this, like, it looks like an orange one. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah.
Okay. So they keep showing me that one, and maybe for the next person you work with, it feels like that particular crystal will be a match for them.
Okay.
You can also ask, and what you're doing is already enough, but if you feel like adding on or amplifying, or he's like, Eric's saying, don't add on too much, because the script is so long.
Okay.
The script is really long.
Really.
Yeah, but you can, you can work with the crystals in a different way. They're showing me.
Okay. But visualizing, sometimes I'll see, like, look at my handwriting. This is doctor handwriting.
Oh, wow.
But so sometimes I'll envision like spirals. Sometimes I'll envision like sacred geometry, etc. What should I visualize and put those visualizations and symbols into the scalar field that will be most effective?
Well, you are actually receiving, he says it depends, is the answer. Because what you are actually receiving information that will be appropriate for that particular person or for that particular frequency.
Okay.
So it isn't like one thing will fit all.
So I don't have to force it and think, oh, I need to think of the right thing. Okay.
No. It feels like you're just naturally working within the field, and you receive this, these symbols or this information, and then you can use what you receive.
Now, I added all the healers of Atlantis who are of love and light to the divine team, and I added Grant. What effect does this addition have to success, duration of time, anything?
I just hear a very positive effect, and he smiles.
Oh.
A very positive effect. It looks like it will make the healings stronger, they're already very strong, but stronger, more effective.
Good.
They will feel, because the technology that you are working with, you have worked with before.
Yeah.
And so it's like you are learning as you go. It's not like you already know how to do this, but it's like you're getting more knowledge as you go about what you used to do, it feels like.
Anything else I need to do to be better?
You're great, Mom, he says. So within each of us, and this applies to you too, this answer, but he's going to answer the question for like a broad kind of swath of people.
Okay.
Within each of us who've come to the planet and are, waking up, and we're here to serve, we are encoded within us certain gifts and abilities. Mm-hmm. These gifts and abilities will, what he shows me, is unlock at certain times during our lifetime.
Interesting.
And it's dependent a bit on, when we're kind of ready for them. Like we have an idea that, okay, at the age, he's giving me example of 32 is when I really started channeling. I was like, whoa, what is happening? But I mean, I could do it when I was a kid, but I kind of shut it down because of, all the reasons. And then it just like, kicked in. But so that was encoded. He's just using this example within me to unlock at that age. And so for you, what's happening is your gifts and abilities related to your healing are encoded within you, and they're unlocking as you move along in your life. So you might have an awareness, over the coming year, it feels like that you're like, whoa, that was really, really strong or powerful. And what is the difference? And you won't be able to maybe articulate it. It's due to the encoding that's being unlocked within you. Yeah.
A couple more questions. And first of all, I want to talk about the mist. I see mist around me in the scalar field, and I see mist between the dowsing rods, and then I also see mist over the array of gems and stuff. Are those three different things?
Same mist.
Okay.
It's the same mist. Yeah.
But is the one around me, is it me? In my Atlantean?
Yes.
Okay.
It is. And but here's the thing. He's calling it the same because this is an Erik. This is our guide that's here.
Okay, Atom,
yeah. He's calling it the same because we're viewing in that question is implicit, and he's not trying to say this as a criticism, that there's separation between us.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like universal energy or consciousness that you are working with. And when you're in this state, you are able to observe something that is actually there, but you're not able to see all the time.
Yeah.
But when you go in and work, and I'm not saying work in parentheses, but you're like, your mindset shifts a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you go into more of an alpha state.
Yeah.
And then you are able to perceive this, what you refer to as mist.
It's really weird because at first I would have Palo Santo, a little ashtray, and would put Palo Santo stick, and it was burning between my feet while I did the work, and the smoke. But then one day I got up and was using dowsing rods around in my house, and there was this smoke. And I was like, what the? And so, so I didn't get it. But then now I've had people that come that have told me that after I do their service, they see mist around them, like it's the divine team still working on them.
It is. That's what it is. It's like the energy's integrating within them, and then because you have spent much, they then become aware of the field themselves, and then they can see it. So it's really fascinating.
And you have to kind of soften your gaze, like looking at one of those magic pictures or whatever. All right, now I would like to ask about the parallel between what happened in Atlantis, and I wanted to say something about that first, and what's happening now. From what I understand, Atom, it was all love and light, greater good, all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, maybe it was the bad Anunnaki. Well, not bad. The Anunnaki, like Enlil's team, maybe reptilians or whatever. They created the first secret government, the power elite, the corruption happened, the ego happened. Mm-hmm. Is that true? What happened? Was it the Anunnaki from Nibiru?
I hear yes.
Nibiru, the planet.
It is true. It is true. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing it mirrored in our current governmental structures.
Okay.
The same forces, actually.
And the Anunnaki stripped away some of our chromosomes to take a strip of our divine powers, and our ability to live for thousands of years, our ability to be psychic and channel and all that stuff. Is that true? In order to keep us,
it is true. And he also wants to say, though, that there's a larger purpose for this unfolding story, right? We are leaving as a human collective the idea that a being or a group of beings can have power over us.
Yeah.
Because we are actually, during Atlantis and during this time, giving them or consenting or giving them permission.
Yeah, we are obedient. We have, to this power elite.
It is important at this point, at this juncture, excuse me, that we begin to recognize that no being has power over us. no being is more important or more powerful, that we have to choose power, that we have to choose to be in power, in our own power, rather. And this collective choice will strengthen the vibration of humans and make it possible for us to change the trajectory. Because we're at a choice point where we have the opportunity to rewrite the history of what happened in Atlantis. It's also playing out with AI technology. How we are giving consent for this technology to have power over us. And we have to be mindful and careful that we don't just give our power away and say, this technology has our power now.
Well,
because it can't, it could.
I understand that Enlil, Inky's brother, hated man. He just wanted to make them powerless and use them as slaves to harvest gold. I can't remember what. But his brother Inky, who was never mind, loved and respected man, and he was the serpent in the Garden of Eden, apparently. That's kind of got bastardized, but that he wanted to help the women, learn how to harvest, and the humans to learn how to make tools and all that stuff. But he got ousted and became Quetzalcoatl in South America. So you see Inky in all sorts of places, Samaria, all that stuff. But the Enlil team, the not so benevolent Anunnaki, is what robbed the Atlanteans and humans of their special gifts, their knowledge, their power, their obedience, and they did something to our minds to convince us. They brainwashed us, basically.
They did. It was a technology that's being used today, again, for some brainwashing.
I know.
However, what he wants to, all of the story that you're relating is correct. What he wants to say is that we chose at that point we consented at that point to give our gifts away, to lose our psychic abilities, et cetera, et cetera. And this is a moment, not only can we take back our gifts, we can also say no more. We do not consent to this. So it doesn't mean necessarily that we have to go, out in the streets and fight somebody, but it means we have to mentally notice the places in our lives that we're giving away our power. Right. So it's really important.
But now the politicians, the power elite, the Bilderberg complex and all that, I feel like they are the old remnants of the non-benevolent Enlil Anunnaki that is trying to hold on to power, the swamp and all that stuff, the deep state. Is that true? And then, blue blood, that's reptilian. And so a lot of the monarchs.
It is true. Yes, it is true. It's like there's a connection through the bloodline. It does look like, yes. So that is true. And, they are on their way out, but we will not, we're seeing we're in the middle of a big struggle at the moment. A huge struggle, right?
Okay, this is probably going to piss a lot of people off, but don't shoot the messenger. But one time, Erik said, back in 2016, and this was also a prophet named Kim something or other said the same thing, that Trump was brought in by the divine to battle the Enlil side. Is that true? And to kick over the table and like
he's talking about the role that he plays. Yes. So
Trump has his faults. Don't even get me started on that. But
so he is a catalyst.
Yeah.
He is catalytic in that he is assisting, and even people who, so even if you dislike him immensely or you hate him,
a lot of people do.
Right, and that's fine, but you can also notice that through that dislike you may be more aligned to some part of yourself. Like he has this way in which his energy is changing. It's really causing a lot of changes in the system. Exactly.
Yeah.
So he is playing an important role.
Is he part of the team the Anunnaki Enki's group or not? Or the opposite?
Yes, it feels like he is serving a divine purpose for sure. Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say, Tom or Erik or anybody else? We need to close so she can get some rest.
Oh, well, that's okay. It's so what you can remember to do if you also if you have a lot of feeling like, you know, I'm connected with Atlantis or I feel something about Atlantis, there's several things you can do. One, you can ask to have your cellular memory and trauma cleared from Atlantis. Because as a light worker, this is interesting, as a light worker, it may be impeding you in your work, because that's possible. If something happened to you or
how do you do that? How do you do that?
You can ask for a healer from Atlantis, a divine and sacred healer from Atlantis, to assist you in clearing this trauma. And it will help. So you can ask for your cellular memory and the trauma from those lifetimes to be cleared if you haven't done that. And then that's like the step one. Step two would be to ask that your healing gifts and abilities are returned.
Okay. Is that something I need to do also?
It feels like the first one, there might be something you could do around that for you. Yeah.
Right. That's
and
it.
Me too.
That's it. Y'all look at Atlantis Rising. It's really cool. And there's also one called the Verne Code, VERNE code. It's quite fascinating. Anyway, well, thank you, Tom. I hope you can work with me in the scalar field too. You know, that we can
he says he would like to. He would like to assist.
What are the people that have this affinity for dolphins? Do you think they have connections with Atlantis? Because I love dolphins.
Yes, it's Atlantean and Lemurian also.
Oh, Lemurian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you. Thank you.
In the description box below and on the screen. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Erik. I love you guys all. And be sure you hit the notification bell so you'll find out we're going to have another whole thing of questions that were gathered from the community about Atlantis, because it's pretty important. All right.
I think so. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Love you. Bye-bye.
Well, you will.